Margaret was 74 years old, and by every visible measure, she was doing fine. Her refrigerator was stocked. She cooked for herself most days. She wasn't dramatically thin. At her annual checkup, nobody raised a flag. But over about 18 months, her daughter noticed things that didn't have a name yet. Margaret was moving more slowly. She caught every cold that came through the family. A small cut on her hand took weeks to heal. She seemed foggy in the afternoons in a way she never used to be. And she'd lost about 12 pounds, gradually enough that nobody had tracked it in real time. When Margaret finally saw a geriatrician who ran a full nutritional panel, the results told a story her appearance had completely hidden. Her protein intake was roughly half of what her body needed. Her vitamin D was critically low. Her B12 quietly declining for years, accelerated by the acid reflux medication she'd been on since her 60s, was deficient enough to explain the cognitive fogginess on its own. She wasn't sick in any dramatic sense. She was malnourished, in a house full of food, at a normal body weight, with a family who loved her and was paying attention. This is the story I need to tell you today, because Margaret's situation is not rare. It is the rule, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly how it happens, what to look for, and what your family can do about it. Before we go further, if you're watching this and thinking of someone in your life this could apply to, share this video right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe before you keep watching. Every week I publish content exactly like this, clinical, honest, and built for families navigating the care of an aging parent. You don't want to miss what's coming. Let me explain how this happens, because once you understand the mechanism, Margaret's situation makes complete sense. Several forces converge in older adults to create nutritional deficiency, even when food is available and intake seems adequate. Appetite decreases with age, taste and smell diminish. Dental problems make eating uncomfortable. Medications suppress appetite, and depression and isolation reduce the motivation to prepare and eat food. Gastric emptying slows, producing a persistent feeling of fullness that makes eating less appealing. At the same time, nutritional needs do not decrease proportionally. Protein requirements actually increase because the aging body uses dietary protein less efficiently. Calcium and vitamin D needs increase because absorption becomes less efficient. B12 absorption declines significantly because the stomach produces less of the acid needed to extract it from food. The result is a cruel nutritional mismatch. Less appetite, less eating, but greater nutritional need. And because body weight can stay relatively stable even as muscle is lost and micronutrients are depleted, the whole process is invisible until the consequences become impossible to ignore. The first and most critical gap is protein. Most older adults eat significantly less protein than their body requires. The recommended intake for adults over 65 is between 1.0 and 2 grams per kilogram of body weight, and up to 1.5 grams for anyone who is ill or recovering. For a 150-pound person, that's roughly 68 to 100 grams of protein per day. Most older adults consume somewhere between 40 and 50. Protein is the structural material of muscle, immune, E-cells, and wound healing. When intake is chronically inadequate, the body breaks down existing muscle tissue to meet its needs, driving the progressive muscle loss that is the single greatest driver of physical frailty in older adults. Here's what I want your family to do. Think back over the last few days of your parents' eating and count the protein sources specifically, not calories, not portions, protein sources. Eggs, Greek yogurt, fish, chicken, legumes, cottage cheese. Was there a meaningful protein source at breakfast, at lunch, at dinner? If the honest answer is not really, that is your starting point. The second deficiency that deserves your attention is vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency affects an estimated 40 to 60% of older adults. It contributes to bone loss, muscle weakness, impaired immune function, and depression. Older adults synthesize less vitamin D from sunlight due to skin changes, and most spend significantly less time outdoors than they did at younger ages. The critical thing is that it produces no dramatic symptoms on its own. It reveals itself in outcomes, a fracture that shouldn't have happened, a fall that doesn't make sense, an immune system that can't fight off a straightforward infection. By the time those outcomes occur, the deficiency has been present for a long time. A simple blood test reveals it. Supplementation is inexpensive and in many cases transformative. Right here, if this video is giving you something useful, hit the like button right now. It genuinely helps this content reach other families who need it. Like and keep watching. The third deficiency is the one most likely to be misread as something far more serious, and I want to spend a moment on it because the stakes are high. Vitamin B12 deficiency causes fatigue, memory problems, difficulty concentrating, mood changes, and tingling in the hands and feet. These symptoms closely and convincingly mimic early dementia. And B12 deficiency is extraordinarily common. Up to 30% of older adults have borderline or deficient levels. The cause is usually not dietary. Most older adults eat enough B12. The problem is absorption. The stomach produces less acid with age, and that acid is required to extract B12 from food. This is significantly worsened by proton pump inhibitors, the acid-blocking medications used for acid reflux, which are among the most commonly prescribed drugs in this population. This means there are older adults right now experiencing memory problems and fatigue, beginning to suspect dementia, when the actual cause is a correctable B12 deficiency worsened by a medication they've taken for years. Sublingual or injectable B12 bypasses the absorption problem entirely. Correction is not only possible, for many people, it is relatively rapid. The fourth factor families almost never think of as a nutrition issue is dental health. Dental problems, pain, missing teeth, ill-fitting dentures, are a profoundly underappreciated barrier to nutrition. Someone who cannot comfortably chew will gradually gravitate toward soft, carbohydrate-dense foods and away from the proteins and vegetables their body needs. This happens slowly, without conscious decision-making, and without anyone noticing. If your parent has been eating differently over the last year, if certain foods have quietly disappeared, if eating seems to generate less enthusiasm, dental comfort is worth investigating before any other nutritional intervention. The fifth factor doesn't sound clinical, but it is social eating. Research consistently shows that older adults who eat alone consume significantly less food than those who eat with others. As social networks shrink with age, the solitary meal becomes the norm for millions of older adults, and the nutritional consequences are real. If your parent lives alone and eats most meals alone, a shared meal, even a video call during dinner, is a meaningful, evidence-based intervention. This is not a soft suggestion. It is a clinical one. Now let me be clear about what is at stake when these deficiencies go unaddressed. Protein deficiency accelerates the progressive muscle loss that drives physical frailty, the state in which a minor infection becomes a hospitalization, and a hospitalization becomes a permanent functional decline. Micronutrient deficiencies affect every organ system. The cognitive consequences of B12 and vitamin D deficiency are among the most important and among the most potentially reversible when caught early. And malnutrition doubles hospital length of stay and worsens outcomes from surgery, infection, and chronic disease management across the board. This is the moment where I want to ask you something directly. If you have a sibling or a friend or anyone in your family who is watching a parent age and hasn't thought of nutrition as a clinical variable, send them this video. This information doesn't reach families through routine medical appointments. It reaches them through exactly this kind of conversation. Share it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And leave a comment below telling me what topic you most want covered next. I read every comment, and it shapes what I make. Here's what your family can do starting this week. Today, count the protein sources in a typical day of your parents' eating. Not calories, protein sources. If you can't identify one at most meals, that is your first priority. This week, request blood work including vitamin D, vitamin B12, and albumin as a protein status marker. These are routine tests that are completely appropriate to request. And if there have been any changes in eating habits or food avoidance, schedule a dental evaluation. This month, ask for a referral to a registered dietitian with geriatric experience. This is a specialist visit most families never think to request, and one that can. Produce a targeted nutrition plan accounting for your parents' specific conditions, medications, and preferences. And make shared meals a priority. One meal a day with another person, in person or by video, is a meaningful, evidence-based intervention that costs nothing. Here is what I want you to carry with you from today. A stocked refrigerator does not equal adequate nutrition. A normal body weight does not rule out malnutrition. And the deficiencies I've described today, protein, vitamin D, B12, are not edge cases. They are the norm in older adults. They are largely invisible without targeted testing. And they are among the most responsive conditions to early intervention that we have in geriatric medicine. Margaret is doing significantly better now. Her protein intake is corrected. Her B12 and vitamin D have been supplemented. Her daughter has dinner with her 3 times a week. She is not a different person, but she is a stronger, clearer, more present version of herself than she was 18 months ago. That outcome was available to her the whole time. The information just hadn't reached her family yet. Now it has reached yours. If this video gave you something real, something you're going to act on, bring to a doctor or share with someone who needs it, please like it and share it right now. Leave a comment below telling me what you're navigating with your parent or what you wish you'd known sooner. This channel exists for exactly that conversation. And subscribe if you haven't already. Next video, we are talking about something the medical community is only beginning to treat with the seriousness it deserves. Why loneliness in older adults is not an emotional problem, but a physiological emergency that carries the same mortality risk as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That video is going to change how you think about your parents' social life entirely. I'll see you there.